Thanks for tuning in to You See Me, focusing on the battle of self-love, acceptance, abuse, spirituality, and much more. Your host, Tina Wynn, will be sharing various ways and strategies that she used to overcome grief, addiction, and depression. You See Me is a self-expressed term Tina uses as a way of making people see the real you. For people to see you, you must first see yourself.
Hi guys, it's your host Tina. Welcome back to You See Me, Y'all See Me. On today's episode, I wanted to talk about the golden rule, and that will be silence. They say silence is golden, but do we truly understand the essence of silence? Some people are silent for a number of reasons, and silent people express themselves through various ways of action. Same as learning. Some people learn through visual, some people learn auditory, some people learn hands-on. You got to pay attention to the way in which people verbalize themselves. You have to see them for them to see you. So Quita has learned, guys, Quita spent some time in and out of institutions and facilities. And in the midst of Quita spending time in these facilities, Quita learned different ways of listening and silencing herself. Tina learn how to distinguish between sound. And some of y'all is probably wondering, what the heck is she talking about? And I'm going to tell y'all. Sometimes when it's silent, some of us still hear noise. And it's the noise within our own heads. It's the nonstop thoughts, the racing thoughts, the whatever it is that's going on in your mind. Some of us don't know what true silence ever is or will be. So that brings me to a situation. Silence. Are we guiding or are we criticizing? Because if not, we need to silence ourselves. See, a very, very, very close friend of Quita's taught Quita that. This person would yell, scream, rant, rave, throw tantrums, throw stuff, tears, cause a whole ruckus, y'all. And Quita caused one back. They challenged each other's levels of insanity, as I would call it. So this person would be so loud, so loud when it came to everything except for self. Do y'all notice that about people? See, so Quita learned, because Quita a piece of work, y'all. Quita learned, y'all see me, Quita learned how to silence herself. See, my daddy always taught me that some people only respect disrespect. And in most instances that Quita's come across, that's very true. That's very, very true. Tina, on the other hand, being the intellect, has found a different approach of dealing with disrespect. Sometimes you have to silence yourself and dig into that behavior. We have to, guys, meet people where they're at. Are we guiding them or are we criticizing them? Because you can't uplift a person and tear them down all with the same lips and hands. And that friend taught Quita that. And Quita taught Tina that. Quita taught Tina that people can't hear you because of your approach. Sometimes we want to help people so much that we end up doing it for them. Or have we ever even stopped to ask ourselves, does this person even want our help? Do they want help? Do they even see something to be helped? See, because the things that we see in other people, they may not see in themselves. Again, we see what we see in our world that makes sense to us, and they see what they see in their world that makes sense to them. So when we step in to help people, what Quita has taught Tina, see, because Quita went around and Quita offered help to everybody. Every time somebody came to Quita with a story, a situation, or whatever it is that Quita fixated her mind on that they were presenting her with, Quita tried to fix. Quita tried to help. And all I did was end up hurting Tina in the end. Because I piled on other people's burdens. I piled on other people's problems. I piled on other people's worries and cares and concerns. And now I'm all overwhelmed with other people's burdens and other people's problems and other people's trying to fix them when they never even asked to be fixed. Just because people tell you a situation or a story does not give or open a passage for you to jump in and try to fix it. That's not your bag. That's not your situation. That's not your load. You can empathize with that person. You can relate to that person and understand what they're going through. But we involve ourselves in situations that don't even call for us to be involved in. Every little thing people take us, we embrace, and we internalize it, and we personalize it, and we make it belong to us. And now you got to see yourself. Now you got to see all of what you took on, because nobody told you to take it on. And then you can't sit and do the poor me syndrome. See, I realized, guys, y'all see me, that it's the nerd in me. The nerd in me either, it does a few things to people. It does a few things to people. It either challenges them to want to better themselves, to want to uplift themselves, to be encouraged, inspired, and motivated by me. Or it forces people to dislike me, discredit me, label me, want to go against me, and tear me down. Then you got the wish-washy in-between people who don't know which way to decide, don't know which way to choose, so they compete with me. They don't know whether they want to take my advice and go with me. They don't know whether they want to take Quita's advice and go against her. They don't know if they want to stay stuck somewhere in the middle with Tina. See, because there's so much to me that it messes people up, and they don't know which way to choose. And this is what we see when we see other people. We see them on a good note. We see them on a bad note. We see them caught in the middle. But do you silence yourself or you silence others? Because in order to see people, you have to hear them. And are we listening with open ears, or are we listening with an open mouth? And that's a question. Because a lot of times we strangers to the people we think we know. We can grow up in a house with people and be completely strangers. You could sleep in the same bed with someone every night and be complete strangers. There's a silence there. There's a silence in communication. There's a silence in unity. There's a silence in togetherness. Y'all don't share the same thoughts. Y'all don't share the same opinions. Y'all don't share the same actions. There's a complete silence. It's loud. Y'all talk every day. There's a lot of commotion, yelling, screaming, banging, There's a lot going on, a whole lot of noise. But the things that y'all need the most are silent. What you feed will grow. What you starve will die. How do we unsilence others without silencing ourselves? We do this by letting them express themselves. However it is that they choose. See, I didn't pay attention to the way this friend expressed themselves. I didn't pay attention. I got drowned out by the yelling, the screaming, the slamming, the banging, the cursing, the cussing. So it caused Quita to react. See, because we can respond to things and we can react off things. You know, the nerd in me, the nerd in Tina always up to every action, there's a reaction. Her actions, I rationalized and justified them to Quita and allowed Quita to react. And Quita has to a Tina because reacting has led Quita to some dark places that she want to be, to them silent rooms with them silent walls. And as much as I wanted out of all the noise that was going on around me, that wasn't the silence that I wanted. What are we listening to? We have to learn to respond to situations and not react off situations. See, because the same thing that I'm sitting here and Quita's sitting criticizing this friend and tearing this friend down. Oh, you're acting like an animal and you're acting like this. And I'm steady pointing, deflecting off the fact that my reaction reflects, the deflect reflect, my reaction reflects exactly on how she is reacting. This friend wouldn't be responding because we respond off stimuli. You rub me, I rub you, and now we both in here reacting. And nobody, it's silent though. Nobody's hearing anything because it's drowned out with reactions instead of responses. We have to learn to respond to things. See, I can't accuse you of always raising your voice and getting all worked up over every little thing. If I'm going to raise my voice and get worked up, I'm doing the same thing. I have to silence myself and hear you. What is it that you're really trying to say, or what is it that you're displaying? You're throwing things and you're tearing things up because you're frustrated, because you're not being heard, because you can't express yourself the way in which you want to. This person is not connecting with you. They're not hearing you. So the only way for them to hear you is for you to start reacting. And then when you start reacting, you get a response. You see how screwed that is? Why does a person have to react for a response when their action should be good enough for one? I want y'all to ask yourselves that. That's the task. That's the journey for this week. Are we listening to people? Are we listening to ourselves? Are we hearing people? And do we hear ourselves? Are the things that need silencing being silenced? Are the areas of your life that are loud needing to be loud? Or do we need to silence the loudness to listen to the quietness? See, my fiance has also taught me about silence. This man's silence is so powerful that he says nothing, but he says a mouthful. His presence sometimes when he's in a room and I bring him around colleagues, he can sit there, he'll be cordial and he'll communicate. But sometimes you don't need to say anything to say something. We have to know when it's necessary to speak and when it's necessary to stay silent. Every situation doesn't deserve a response or need a response. See, because if we can't even distinguish between responding and reacting, which my husband taught me, the best thing for us to do is stay silent. You know, me being me, Quita being Quita, one day I wanted to just argue with him. I don't know why, y'all. Y'all see me. I just wanted to argue. And he refused to react. He refused to respond. And it pissed Quita off. And hours later, you know what he had the audacity to say to Quita? See, but Quita had already calmed down by then, and Tina resurfaced. So Tina was able to silence herself and listen. And he said, sometimes when you react or respond, you give people power over you. When we react or we respond, the situation is no longer in our control. It was given to us, but the minute that we take it, we have now took it on. The minute you react or respond, you have took on the burden of that situation and made it yours and lost all control. See, and what Tina learned in that moment was, these are my feelings that I'm projecting onto him. He's not angry. He's not upset. He's not hurt. He doesn't feel what you're feeling. Why does he need to respond to your feelings? These are your feelings. Identify them, own them, and move on from them. See, a lot of times when we feeling stuff, we want to project it onto other people, and we want them to feel what we feeling. And then if they don't feel what we feeling, now we upset because they're not feeling. We have to accept what we expect. Silence, y'all. Silence is golden. Silence is essential. Know when to speak. Know when not to speak. Know which situations to apply your voice to. If you are not building someone up, don't help in tearing them down. Remember, we all pieces of this puzzle. We all learn and respond to things differently. It is a choice. Remember, choices. It is a choice to react or respond to anything. We cannot blame our actions on others. You have to see them so that they can see you. And if this is what makes sense in that person's world for them to act that way, you have to make sense in your world in which way you want to act or respond. Life is about choices. Which choices are we making today? Are we seeing ourselves, or are we seeing others, or are we walking around blind? And that's the question for the week. Y'all see me. Come join me again. Go out, see yourself, see others, and see life. Join me again. Thank you.